US President Donald Trump stated on Saturday that the United States and Iran are getting a lot closer to an agreement to end the war in the Middle East. Pope Leo XIV arrived in the southern Italian town of Acerra on Saturday to offer comfort to a region scarred by decades of environmental crime.
The European Union has signed a revamped trade deal with Mexico as part of efforts to expand its influence in Latin America.
US President Donald Trump stated on Saturday that the United States and Iran are getting a lot closer to an agreement to end the war in the Middle East. In a phone interview, Trump noted that progress is being made on a draft treaty but warned of unprecedented military strikes if negotiations fail. The diplomatic momentum comes as regional officials confirm a final decision on the Pakistan-drafted proposal could be reached within 48 hours. In Tehran, the Iranian Foreign Ministry described the text as a framework agreement designed to finalize main security issues over a 60-day span. Beyond the nuclear dispute, which Tehran insists is excluded from this round, the agreement aims to address sanctions relief and the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio also cited encouraging progress during a visit to India, noting that a formal announcement could come within days. While Pakistan's army chief continues mediation talks in Iran, both sides remain on high alert, with Iranian negotiators warning of a crushing response if US attacks resume. Pope Leo XIV arrived in the southern Italian town of Acerra on Saturday to offer comfort to a region scarred by decades of environmental crime. Arriving on a pastoral visit to the notorious Terra dei Fauci, or Land of Fires, the pontiff met relatives of those who lost their lives to toxic waste pollution. Inside Acerra Cathedral, the Pope delivered a searing denunciation of the criminal activity and the systemic indifference that allowed illegal dumping to flourish. He urged society to break the entire chain of corruption and warned against the dangers of resignation, calling for a profound cultural shift. Moving outside to address thousands of faithful and 90 regional mayors gathered in Piazza Calipari, the Pope contrasted the region's ancient fertility with its current ecological devastation. He concluded his address with a prayer for civic redemption, calling on local leaders to transform the destructive blazes of toxic waste into a renewal of care and love for the land.
The European Union has signed a revamped trade deal with Mexico as part of efforts to expand its influence in Latin America, shortly after the Mercosur Pact entered into force. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum was joined by European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and European Council President Antonio Costa for a summit in Mexico City to sign the deal.
The goal here is simple. We want to create even more jobs and value on both sides. With swift ratification, tariffs on virtually all Mexican agri-food exports to Europe will disappear. Imagine the opportunities. European companies, drawn by Mexico's talent and dynamism, already support more than 5 million jobs here, and there is much more to come.
The economic partnership reflects efforts on both sides to reduce their dependence on the US and on China. The deal strengthens the EU's diversification strategy by updating a 20-year-old agreement that had already eliminated tariff barriers on bilateral trade. A Portuguese court has remanded in custody the mother and stepfather of 2 French children that had been abandoned on a roadside earlier this week. Considering the couple a flight risk, the court ordered the 41-year-old woman and 55-year-old man to be placed in pretrial detention for the crimes of aggravated assault, endangerment, and abandonment of the boys after a 2-day hearing. The case has drawn widespread attention in Portugal and France since the 2 small boys were found on Tuesday evening crying beside a road near Alcácer do Sal. The couple was arrested Thursday by Portuguese authorities in the central town of Fatima and brought before an investigating judge on Friday at the court in the southern port city of Setúbal. The children have been placed with a French foster family in Lisbon pending their return to France.